He was like rookie of the year. He was a rookie. He stole home plate like 6 times on bases loaded 6 times.
Oh my God.
That's how well he ran the bases. I mean, he was just hard to catch. You look up Pete Reeser.
Absolutely. Everything you're saying, I'm going to be researching.
I mean, Pete Reeser there's history of his background and stuff. They have write-ups about him. There's sections of his life written about him because he was involved with Branch Rickey. Evidently, Branch Rickey hired him illegally before he was of age. He was in high school or something, and they signed him. And then Major League Baseball found out about it. They had to let him go, and he ended up the Dodgers, and then they were fighting over him, and he ended up signing with the Dodgers. But it's all of this history about him. And like I'm telling you, he was rookie of the year, and he ran into the walls, and he ruined his career. But when he managed, I mean, he taught me so much about baseball in those 3 or 4 months we were together. It was amazing what I learned from him. Running the bases, taking a lead, how to steal a base, how to play short and second, how deep to play in their position, even though he was an outfielder. He could throw with either hand, and he could hit with either hand. Lefty or righty, and he could throw, either hand is good, either hand.
So it seems like there's a big difference that's happened now, because you now know what minor league is
Different.
today.
Totally different.
The nuances of baseball is power and strength, and back then they were teaching the nuances. Jackie Robinson taught you why were you tailing your throws to first off, where you're playing, how to run the bases, how to.
But the other thing that was big, no weightlifting.
Oh yes, right.
Weightlifting was big, boxing and football, but not in baseball. That was a no-no because you build up these areas and it tightened you up to swing a bat. I mean, Ted Williams, I can remember I used to go for autographs and watch him when the Red Sox would come into Philly. I would go early and I'd be in the stadium. He'd be in left field doing push-ups, 100 push-ups. And we used to do push-ups and on toes, push-ups. So everything is on the shoulders, arms, here and here. So it was great for doing that at the time. And so that was really, and running. And running was a big deal. We used to run all the time. And anytime you would play a game, you ran before the game. You always ran the whole field to get loose. I don't think they do that anymore.
No, they don't.
And maybe they get loosened up in the clubhouse. They're on a bike or there's some other stuff they're doing. At the time, we didn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and in spring training, and you learn that here. I mean, you learn how to slide. I mean, you learn how to do a hook slide to the left, a hook slide to the right, a stand-up slide. They taught you all this in Vero Beach. I remember playing the Phillies minor league team. The guy was an outstanding base runner and base stealer. He stole second base standing up. And I'm playing short or something at the time. I said, what the hell are you running, sliding in, standing up, going into the base? He says, you're almost killing the shortstop or second baseman doing this. He says, nobody ever taught me how to slide.
No.
And he's in the minor leagues, the Phillies minor leagues. Can you imagine how bad that was at the time in the minor leagues for the Phillies? They wouldn't, and so one thing about the Dodgers is they taught you baseball. So I think I have a list written somewhere, at least 20 to 30 guys that I was playing ball in the minor leagues or somewhere that became coaches in the major leagues or managers in the major leagues because the expansion in 1960 from 16 to 30 or whatever it is today, I think it's 30, you had to have coaches and scouts and managers and all this. Where is it going to come from? The minor leagues and guys, and a lot of guys I played with ended up coaching. I mean, this Doug Camelli, who became, I was a roommate with him, and we were very good friends after I was out of baseball. And he was a bullpen coach for the Dodgers. And I got stories I'm going to give you about it, because he was a roommate with Sandy Koufax.
Oh my goodness.
So I got, we went to dinner together with Sandy. I mean, I got to know, we had outings together, and I was out of baseball. I mean, because we had friendships in the minor leagues, so he would come into town, and I'd call him, he'd leave me tickets, and I'd go to the ball game, and afterward, we'd go out and have beer and shoot the breeze about baseball. That was the way he used to do it at the time. And I did that with Pete Reeser, and I did that with Doug Camilli, and basically they're the only two I think I really did it with. And I played with other guys that made it, but a couple of them I'd see, but we were roommates. When we were roommates, you're doing more than just playing ball. Because like in spring training, you had these barracks, and the barracks had 2 double beds in each room. Each had a dresser for 2 people. And the john and the shower was in the hallway. That's the way it was in the military. So you ended up, that's where your room was. You had 3 other guys in the room with you, and you had Puerto Ricans, you had Cubans, you had blacks, you had whites, everybody mingled. And most of the rooms you had all the blacks, all the whites, all the Puerto Ricans or whatever, but the showers you had everybody in the showers mixing up. Because it was uncomfortable for the guys being with other guys. Because they didn't know them, they couldn't speak the language, a lot of them couldn't speak English, and there was a lot of things going on at the time were different than today. I played 1 year in 54 that the second baseman was from Cuba. He didn't speak English, broken English. When we were playing ball, we had communication, but you had difficulty. He would sit and have lunch or dinner with somebody he couldn't talk to. He couldn't talk to us and enjoy himself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And at the time, who were the gifted athletes were the Cubans, not the Puerto Ricans or any other Southern Mexican or whatever. It was the Cubans. They were like the elite of the time.
Why were they so elite at that time?
I don't know, but they had baseball. I think that was the reason. There was baseball down in Cuba, and baseball was a fanaticism. They were like nuts about baseball down there, and you had a Cuban league down there at the time. Guys were playing in a Cuban league.
They're still amazing.
They're still a big deal in Cuba.
Amazing.
But it changed all. The intelligence and all that changed once in the 60s when we had the Cuban crisis. And we didn't have any connection with Cuba for 20 years. So that changed. And then when they started coming in again, they were coming in with the Puerto Ricans, they were coming in with the Mexicans, and all the other countries around the world were coming in. It was different, but they were coming in primarily because they had athletes down in Cuba. And they were playing baseball down in Cuba. And I think even the guy that I can't remember his name offhand, he was a ball player. The guy that was running Cuba at the time, he was a ball player in Cuba. And that was a big deal in Cuba, playing ball. But it was interesting meeting people. At the time I was like 19, 20, and I'm living in New Jersey, and there was no interstates, there was no 4-lane highways, everything was 2-lane. You traveled. It was I was up in Kokomo, I was in New York State. I'm escaping me right now, but I was in a minor league city up there, and my dad, my sister, and a friend of mine from where I lived drove from Camden all the way to I can't remember the damn name of the city. I got it written down. I knew it yesterday, but I forget right now. Anyhow, they came to visit me. I thought that was the greatest. They drove 10 hours
oh my goodness.
to get there to see me. So they took all day to get there, gonna have to stop to eat, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a day trip just to drive on 2 lane highways. So I was tickled pink, they came to visit me, and I got drafted like 2 weeks later or something. And, but I still remember them coming out to see me, and then driving back 10 hours
Oh my gosh.
to see me. And so it was a lot of fun besides the game.